So as an insider in the energy sector, though, I'm just wondering, do you think that you already say that you'll get an overarching sense of policy? It's just that you think that in terms of how they're communicating it, it's not quite clear.
Yes.
You've also talked about how you think that the policy is to get long-term solutions.
Yes.
So tell us, what are some of the long-term solutions you think they're trying to bring on board? Because it doesn't seem to be going in tandem with some of the long-term solutions that some people had thought, this administration was going to go with. For instance, the issue of deregulation.
Yes, with respect to deregulation, I understand that they are making partnerships with Total for the refinery in Kaduna, Chevron for the refinery in Warri, and somebody else for the refinery in Port Harcourt. Now, what in simple terms is that they want to ensure that the refineries are not just working technically for the sake of working, but they're actually working to produce to full capacity. And they are doing that by putting measurable goals to it. Now, all those things will take some time. Those are laudable goals if they're able to achieve it. I initially talked about the full impact of what a full-scale refinery will do when it's fully operational. So those are clear. Those are very clear directions in terms of what they want to do. At least that's for the downstream. In terms of the upstream and how that will impact the economy and all that, there is significantly little that is within their circle of influence. Oil is a commodity, an international commodity, and like every other commodity, is subject to the forces of demand and supply. They have issues, it goes down. The OPEC nations are, virtually every OPEC nation has had an issue. I think we have even done better than a couple of others. Those are things that significantly, there's not much that they can do. So it's incumbent upon them to develop the downstream sector, which is the area that is within their circle of influence.
This problem we have is quite unique and unprecedented, because before now we've always had it, maybe some other issue, protests, by unions or some kind of shortfall in this has continued too long, and that is why for so many Nigerians they still think that the best thing to do is even to get the minister to talk more, even though you think otherwise. And you said something about the Queen in the game, but you are, of course, if you play the game of chess pretty well, we also have what we call the Queen's Gambit, where the Queen can come out pretty early in the game. So this is the Queen speaking now. And what more do you think we should understand if the minister must talk to the people in getting better understanding? Don't forget at first he said people misquoted or misunderstood him when he said we're going to wait till about May, and now he said it's till about 7th of April or on the 8th of April. Are we getting some kind of pressure on the minister instead of getting the truth? Perhaps we made him rescind if at all it was supposed to be May. What's the true picture? If it's something, a sector you have been following, what's the true picture of things? Do you think 7th of April is feasible for us to have the nation with petrol?
Well, first of all, the minister should be under pressure if the sector is not working. It's a job. It's not an entertainment game. And he has responsibilities to make the sector work. I mean, the job description was have been clearly spelled out, and that's why he has liberty and powers to execute certain things. So if he has been given the powers and the liberty, and the sectors is having imperfections as we have now, he should be under pressure, and he should work out the pressure.
You don't think he's been given the powers and liberty?
No, I said if he has been given, he has been given. I'm just using that as an euphemism to describe the situation. In terms of whether they can do it or not, only they can answer that. We want to believe and trust the words that have come out from the minister. But however, it is, playing the devil's advocate now, it may not have been too wise to have given exact dates, because there are 1,000,001 things that can happen that can alter dates. Even if the date is altered by 2 days, those 2 days will be crisis days for them.
Now, he said the first 2 weeks of April And then, but he's working hard to ensure that it ends in the first week of. I think I was watching.
I think what I saw in the papers was certain
that was
numbers.
the papers. I mean, we have the direct quote. I mean, I heard him say the first 2 weeks of April, and then but he's working hard to ensure it ends in the first week of April. I mean, we will all run with what it is that we want to run with, wouldn't we?
Well, it's a complex environment. This is the 21st century, and we adapt to challenges as we see them, and not expect that the challenges must be like they were 10 years ago.
Let's take a look at several issues that have been bandied over time as part of what may have caused this crisis, and many look to getting a solution. The major marketers, their role in this, even though now there's that talk about the major marketers importing or not importing fuel, and then NNPC saddled with some responsibility, a huge one now, about getting fuel in. Could you then tell us what you think is going on in that area and what should we be doing?
I think the marketers have, because of the subsidy removal issues that you talked about and other factors, they claim that there isn't sufficient profitability in the importation and their season from importing fuel, which means that NNPC is now saddled with the responsibility of ensuring availability of the finished products within the supply chain. Now,
is it all of them that claim that?
That's what they say. That's what they say. And the fact is this: all of those things have been there because we have been lazy to actually do the work that we should do, and the work that we should do is develop the refineries. Because with the refineries, not only do we reduce the cost of importation by close to 50%, I mean the cost of the final product by significant amounts, we actually provide jobs. We actually make the oil industry relevant to the lives of people. You see, we produce crude, right? This is a very simple economics. We produce crude. We'll transport the crude to somewhere in Europe, and then they refine it at a certain amount, and then they transport it back. 70% of the cost is in the transportation, because it costs like less than $7 or $5 or something to actually refine a barrel.
Yeah, Papa, I don't mean to burden that, but in terms of those who are currently importing fuel to the country, could you give us a picture?
I don't have the names. I don't have that.
Okay, because I'm asking because, I mean, there are those who have said that no major marketer is importing, and some say, no, that's not correct. Some of them are, and so they couldn't just come up with that blanket statement, and NNPC also doing something to bridge that gap. So that sector, many ask themselves, is it bogged down with politics, or is it because they want to reform, and then you have people who are resisting that reform?
I think it's all. As long as they are human beings, there will be politics. But having said that, there are people who are bound to give conflicting information in any technical industry. It's normal to defend, but we can only go with the positions that are official. And to that extent, we know that what government has said through NNPC, that these people are reluctant to bring in forth. Now, if there's a contrary opinion,
reluctant. Okay.
For using
I mean, let's look at the situation on the ground. I mean,
yes.
If they're finding it very difficult to source forex, what is the incentive for them to bring in this fuel? I mean, the government has acknowledged that it's been a little miserly on how it's
that's
forex.
that's another issue entirely. We're not talking about the cost now. We're just first of all talking about the facts that are on ground. The facts that are on ground is that they're not bringing in fuel. So the second thing will now be, what are the causative factors, which is now the forex and all that. See, because in that extent, it is a combination of governance, economics, and politics in the decisions that go into that, which I may not necessarily be an expert in all those.